position 2? Not 1.
Go ahead.
2. Go ahead. Mark Seligman, County Commissioner candidate, position 2.
All right. What are the requirements for the position you're seeking?
What I think the requirement should be is a knowledge of Josephine County and its economic and personal values. A county commissioner should be very aware of the sociological aspects of where they live and where they govern.
Okay.
So that's a very important requirement.
Okay.
Okay, question 2. Do you have any experience or an education that could apply to the position you're seeking? If so, give us a little background on that. Is there a current conflict, possibly? And if there is, how could it be resolved?
There's no conflict.
Okay.
My experience for this position, that's what you want to know, is more than any candidate, because I've been involved politically with Josephine County since 2008, and I've lived in Josephine County 30 years. I have a BA in sociology, which I'll talk about, and I have an associate degree in business. So I am fully aware of the business side, like you people here at the Chamber are, and I'm fully aware of the other side as well. And what strikes me here, the experience I have, rarely does any county commissioner have my experience, and that's regarding the economics. There is no 95% of the county commissioners that I have seen have no concept of the people they represent and the extreme poverty and lack of hope and bitterness and frustration that comes from living in a county that simply cannot provide adequate employment for their youth or older people, and does not take into the account their most valuable resource, which is seniors who have money. And they don't take into account seniors. They don't advocate for seniors, and those are the people with youth that are most at risk. So my experience regarding the economics, I don't have a lot of money. I speak from personal experience. No other candidate who's running, maybe one, even can come close to the economic aspects that I talk about.
So what do you believe are the most relevant issues currently facing the county, and what would be your 6 months plan to tackle those issues?
My plan is far more than 6 months. The economics of Josephine County and how it treats its seniors and its youth is a key question. And we must either, all the county government, if that's what you're referring to, all the county government can do is make life easier for the at-risk groups like seniors, like youth. And what I'm talking about is the county government should make absolutely no attempt to raise any fees, increase any regulations, increase any taxes. If anything, they should reduce it all, because they're dealing in a county that has extreme poverty. Even the renters, if property taxes increase, as one of your candidates, specifically Colleen Martin, will do, you will have what I call elder abuse, because these people will be impacted negatively, and they're already being hurt. And our youth have to deal with households where their parents are struggling. So my plan would be, people get into government and say, oh, we're going to govern. The purpose of being into government is not necessarily to govern. The purpose of being in government is to govern less, to have that wisdom that of its population, like I have, with a BA in sociology and working in the county and being around people for 30 years. This is what my plan, well, the plan is help to reduce people's expenses. If you can't bring in good paying jobs here, which is harder to do than reduce expenses, you just have to stay on that one road, reduce expenses. We are the worst county in the state regarding economics. And as county commissioner, I would make things easier for businesses and for individuals, not try to rake in more funds for county services, which, by the way, are overplayed. County services, the people need money in their pocket far more than they need all these county services.
Okay, question number 4. How will you interact with other elected officials, both city and county, to achieve positive results, even if you disagree with some of their positions?
You always try to act and compromise. If people, you have, abuse. If a grandparent of yours or a parent of yours is being abused, and you see it, you must first try to resolve that abuse in as calmly a manner as possible. However, if individuals in government refuse to ease off on these groups that I've mentioned, then you start getting into action that's peaceful, like civil disobedience. If government officials do not understand the people they represent, then it's just like you had here over this last weekend. You had 4,000 people in a No Kings demonstration. Well, you could have a demonstration on a way smaller scale if county officials abuse seniors who are a group that is threatened and is at risk. So you always want to compromise first. But if you can't get compromise, your only other alternative is civil disobedience and peaceful protest.
So 5, how will you learn what's important to the citizens of Josephine County, and how will you communicate with them? Conversely, how do you prefer them to contact and or communicate with you?
Well, my door would always be open. Come and see me anytime you want. Tell me what your problem is. If government causes your problem, I'll do the best I can to make sure it doesn't. What was the first part of your question?
How will you interact, or how will you communicate with the citizens of Josephine County?
Well, press releases. I'll invite them into my office, like I said, to discuss whatever their issues are. But I kind of know already. I've run a business here for 30 years. I've dealt with young and old, rich and poor. I've been a county commissioner candidate. I've gone to many meetings. I'm a BA in sociology, a graduate work in psychology. I have spoken to enough people over the years in my community that I realize what the people want and what they don't want. I've already experienced that, but I'm willing to learn more as time goes on.
Last question.
No, one more.
Oh, if a debate were arranged, would you be willing to participate?
A one-on-one debate?
No, with all the candidates.
Oh, of course. Well, that's not a debate. That's a forum.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, a forum. I'd love a debate. If you guys put on a debate, a pro-tax person and an anti-tax person, that'd be wonderful. Oh, I'd love that. I believe that you're going to have one. And I call that debate forum, whatever you want to call it. I've been there before, at least 6 times. The reason I run for office, of course you want to win. The reason I run for office is not necessarily to win, but is to educate other candidates as to what my knowledge has been over 30 years. I almost seek to be a mentor. And I just want everybody to understand and hear. I'm not sitting in this room to gain votes. I'm speaking from my heart. What I'm telling you is you live in a county that many people are filled with bitterness and frustration due to economics. And that's toxic. I have people that work for me, they can't pay their phone bill, cell phone bill, they can't get money to go to work, they don't have the money, they don't make good enough money, they have too many expenses, whether they're homeowners or not. This is a toxic environment that people are living in, but they want to keep it quiet. It's like the English. They suffer in quiet. And many people here, especially seniors, suffer in quiet. You know, I'm 76 years old. Thank God I can still get out and do what I do. But many seniors can't do it. And they just shut their mouths and deal with it. They say, well, property taxes, if you can't pay them, it'll be deferred. Unacceptable. Because the people that it will be deferred to will be your heirs, who are probably worse off than you. So we must have a compassionate government that listens to its citizens and realize we're not here to increase the coffers of Josephine County. There are people who make $200,000 a year and they're heads of departments of a few people. That's absurd. County commissioners run the county. They should get the highest salary. And one of my goals would be to cut these departments to the bone so that people wouldn't have additional fees and taxes and things like that. We simply have to be compassionate towards our people, or we don't deserve to call ourselves commissioners.
Okay,
That's it.
the last question was, is there anything else you would like to tell the voters before we conclude the interview?
Well, just because somebody says stuff that is unpleasant doesn't mean it's not true. And my hope is that in time, people will say, you know, this guy Mark Seligman, he's a bit controversial, but what he's saying is true. So thank you very much for listening, and let your heart be your guide.
Well, I think it's a good message we're going to get